Hi, how's everyone doing today, and welcome back to the channel. We have our first NFL mock draft of the season. This will probably be one of three. I'm not really sure what I'll do for the second round, but this will be just for picks 1 through 10. And I just want to get this out of the way. I do not know a ton about these organizations when it comes to the new GMs. I don't know how they're going to draft, but I am going to be trying to project what these teams are going to do, not what they need to do, because what I see them needing to do is very different than what they actually are going to do. And I'm going to try to predict that to the best of my capabilities. Now, it will be pretty fun in a couple months when we look back and try to see what I thought they were going to do and see them completely do something different. I'm going to take a couple risks with these top 10 picks. And let me know if you want me to do a full-on number 1 and 2 day drafts, like when it comes to like a full mock draft. I'll do a full first round. It will be a longer video, so just let me know if you want to see that. But I do want to do the first 10 picks, and let's get straight into it. It's going to be very difficult to do this. I'll say this because I've tried to record this once, and I will say, man, it gets really tough with these first 10 picks because these teams, obviously, they're some of the worst teams in the National Football League, so it's very difficult to tell what they really are going to go with these draft picks, specifically with the teams that have 2 draft picks in the top 10, as the New York Giants and Jets both have 2 top 10 picks. So it's very confusing and trying to see which one will one up the other, specifically with them both being in separate conferences. But I know they're going to try to control the New York market, as many teams try to do that. But why don't we just dive right into it? I'll try to break down the prospects a little bit, as well as telling you like why I like them and why maybe a certain team would like them as well. But with the first overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that I've been a little bit higher on than most people this offseason. I know a couple of people haven't said that they were going to be the best team in the world, obviously, after this offseason with overpaying for Christian Kirk. And I'll admit it was an overpay. But I think you do have to pay some players to come to Jacksonville. It's not a great place to be. I mean, specifically when you compare to Miami in the same conference, and it's not a great place. I mean, I'm not going to discredit a Jaguars fan because they are some of the most ravaged fan bases I've ever seen. Like, they're very loyal for good reason because they're the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'm so sorry they had to deal with a guy like Urban Meyer, a scumbag, one of the worst NFL head coaches, maybe the worst NFL head coach of all time. I might make a video just on the stories that you would have to hear from that terrible man owning an organization. Basically, I see like an owner and a head coach kind of not having the same power, but like the face of the franchise, the head coach, the guy in the chair, was one of the worst people in the entire world. Now you have Doug Peterson, a guy that I like. Trevor Lawrence is still a piece that you can really use to be the catalyst to move forward, to be a contender in a really weak division, an old aging division. And you just have to be better than the Texans and get back to those Maurice Jones-Drew days, those days with Blake Bortles actually throwing to the right team. And with that first overall pick, you need to anchor on the defense. And as much as I think Kayvon Thibodeaux is the better prospect over Aiden Hutchinson, and there's some slight concerns with Aiden Hutchinson's arms. They're kind of shorter, so you could see sometimes blockers use that to their advantage. And I'm concerned that at the NFL level, he won't be able to use that same level of bend. But everything else about Aiden Hutchinson, you have to love. I love everything, his power, his footwork, his technique, and he's an older-ish guy. I think he was a senior, so I think he's got a little bit more experience. He's going to be pretty solid coming out of the NFL. I just don't know if he has that superstar elite talent, but he's a really good pass rusher. I think he could easily get, 8-9 sacks. I don't know what the average for rookies when it comes to their first year, but I think he could be a really solid piece for him. And I think he could be a solid run defender as well, which is something that they're going to need when you're playing Derrick Henry. So I'm going Aiden Hutchinson, number 1 overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. With the Lions, it gets really tough because I've ranged from Malik Willis going here. I've ranged from them trading out of this pick. I've ranged from them going with Travon Walker, Kayvon Thibodeaux, Kyle Hamilton. I mean, there's a lot of needs on this team, and they have Hard Knocks coming up. I fully expect them to want to make a big splash, and definitely someone that's going to be somebody that they're going to want to see. And it's so difficult to project because, I mean, they obviously have Jared Goff, a guy that can win you some games. Malik Willis is right here. I don't know why Sam Howell is actually ranked higher than Malik Willis. I disagree with that on all fronts. Desmond Ridder isn't going to get people in the seats. And I think they could easily go with a guy like Kayvon Thibodeaux. As much as people are trying to put smoke that he could go out outside the top 5, top 10. I think he's the right pick here, and I think that he makes the biggest splash. You could see he has a big personality, and as much as I want them to go with like a guy like Kyle Hamilton, I just see them getting a big-time pass rusher to really build up that defense. I think he's a guy that fits everything that their head coach is going to want, and I think as much as Aiden Hutchinson, I think, would be a perfect guy on the Lions, I don't see the Jaguars missing out on him. And the two main edge guys, I know it's not a surprise to some people. I've seen Travon Walker potentially going at that point, but I just don't see it happening, man. I like Travon Walker, but not top 2 potential. And I see Kayvon having way more higher ceiling than Travon Walker. I have him higher than Aiden Hutchinson. So I think the Lions make a big move and they get Kayvon Thibodeaux. I think a lot of this is just smoke screens. You hear a lot of rumors, and I think the Lions are going to get their guy at number 2 no matter what. And I don't really know if they go for a different guy. Maybe a Travon Walker would be the surprise of the draft. I mean, if you don't remember, like a guy like, I don't know, Andrew Thomas was not expected to go number 4 overall to the Giants. So I don't really expect that to happen, but Kayvon is the guy at number 2, and I think the Lions have made some really strong moves over the past couple drafts, and I think they had a really good draft last year, and they know that they can get really talented guys at top 2, like an edge rusher that could really solidify their defense, and they had no pass rush last year, and I think that they could be really good with Kayvon Thibodeaux. And now we're 7 minutes in, and I got to get through some of these. The Texans, I think they go Kyle Hamilton. They're a secondary-based team. If you look at the previous drafts and you look at the front office that are in there, it's a lot of Patriots in there. There's a lot of defense in there. And I think Kyle Hamilton is the guy that they end up going with. I could see an Evan Neal going to the Texans to really shore up that offensive line, but I don't think they pass up on a guy like Kyle Hamilton at this position. They love defensive backs there, and I think he fits everything that the Texans would want. And they just got rid of Justin Reed, and he would fit in that perfectly. At number 4, it gets really, really, really interesting. I think a Derek Stingley could easily go here for the Jets. I could even see Ahmad Gardner being someone that they like more, and that could be a surprise at the draft. And with that being said, I think, it's so difficult. You need someone to potentially keep up with a Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and I see them going Ahmad Gardner, a super freak athletic guy. I think that's a surprise of the draft. I think they might end up liking him more. Now, with that being said, if a guy like Kayvon gets to the Jets, I see the Jets picking up them, and I don't see him going and getting, I don't know, maybe a Travon Walker for the Jets. I could definitely see someone else. There's someone else I think could easily jump up and be a big steal for some teams. But I really like Ahmad Gardner. I think his size is being a little bit overrated. He's a freak athlete at every level that he's been at, and he's a fantastic ball player. With that being said, though, I do have the Giants making a reach. They love their Georgia guys, and I think they end up going and getting a guy like Travon Walker at number 5. I think they see the potential with Travon Walker. They've historically gone for Georgia guys. Now, I could easily see Evan Neal going at this position. I think Evan Neal, honestly, and these tackles are so difficult for me to tell where they go with, and I really have no clue where they could end up picking one of these guys. As much as I think a lot of people are projecting the Panthers to go quarterback, as much as Malik Willis and all these guys, I think they might play it safe. But I will say this right now. I think Kenny Pickett is a third-best quarterback in this draft. I think Malik Willis would be the right pick for them right now. And as much as I think that they're going to go with quarterback, I'm going to play it safe. I think they go with Evan Neal, and then Charles Cross is going to be a Giant. I think they go get their left tackle and right tackle solidified for Daniel Jones, and they're going all in this year and going Ikem Okongwu, actually. I'm switching it up last minute, guys. I hate to say it. I think Ikem is a much better prospect than Charles Cross right now, and I like his hands better. I like his footwork better. I like his power, and I think he fits what the Giants are going to want. And the Giants get their edge and their tackle. I think both of these teams could easily, even the Jets, I don't think they go edge and tackle as many people are projecting, but this is what's going to happen. It could even be Jermaine Johnson and Ikem Okongwu, or a variation of Charles Cross and Jermaine Johnson. I would not be surprised by either of those picks happening. And with the Falcons, I think it gets really, really interesting for the Falcons, and I think they might end up getting Derek Stingley to go across from A.J. Terrell. That would be an interesting pairing with the two of them. I don't really know who else they could end up going for. Maybe a Charles Cross. I wouldn't be surprised by that. But for them, they need a receiver, And I could be surprised if they went with a Drake London. They like their big athletes. I would not be surprised by that whatsoever. But they also love their speed. They need the Calvin Ridley type. But I think a possession receiver to match up with Marcus Mariota for the time being, and someone that they can use with Cordell Patterson, I think they end up getting Drake London at the 8th overall pick, allowing for the Seattle Seahawks, my team. There's been plenty of reports that they end up going with Malik Willis, and I do think they either go with Derek Stingley Jr. Now, the Seahawks for years, we always think they're going one way and they go left, and it frustrates the hell out of me because I think they should go with a Derek Stingley, get a solidified back end corner, but they will not do it to save my life as much as I want them to, because Derek Stingley is one of my favorite corners in the entire draft, and I'm going to put him in my mock because I think the Seahawks might be baiting other teams into thinking that they're going to go all in for Malik Willis, and I think the Seahawks are a prime spot for the Steelers to trade up and make a move, so I'm going to put Derek Stingley in there. I'm not doing any trades. It's just my head would be hurting the entire day if I did solely just trades, because I think there could be a lot of trades in this draft. A lot of trades could happen with these teams and the way that this draft pool is set up. I think this is a very good draft, but it could easily bust out a lot of teams. And with the last pick of the draft, or at least for this video, I do have a guy like Garrett Wilson potentially going to the Jets. And seeing as they need a complete receiver, a guy that can easily come in and make a ton of plays, and I think when it comes to wide receivers, there's none better than Garrett Wilson. I could see Chris Olave being jumped up here. They have a couple wide receivers here that could easily be like a Treylon Burks, but I think with the 10th overall pick, they go with Garrett Wilson as a safe pick. And if you want to see what my draft is, that is it. That is Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau, Kyle Hamilton, Ahmad Gardner, Trayvon Walker, Evan Neal, Ika Makongwu, Drake London, Derek Stingley Jr., and Garrett Wilson. A couple guys that could potentially sneak into the top 10. I just want to get this out of the way. I could easily see Nakobe Dean, a potential reach with the Jordan Davis. I definitely see Jermaine Johnson as a prime guy to potentially sneak into this top 10. And I'm looking at you, the Giants, to make a big move for potential Jermaine Johnson, a last chance you legend. But if you like my videos and you like this channel, please leave a like and a sub. It would mean the world to me. We are trying to hit 1,000 subs by the end of this summer, and I am working my ass off to reach that. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.